What's up, and welcome to another episode of Viking Vibes, the St. Joseph by the Sea High School Experience, an exclusive podcast and web series dedicated to all things St. Joseph by the Sea. Today, we are very lucky. We have a very special alumni spotlight. Today, we are joined by Coach Cortese, graduating class of 2001. We'll get into why that is the most singularly greatest class ever in a moment. But Coach Cortese is joining us here today, class of 2001, the most winningest coach in St. Joseph by the Sea's history, currently going into his 13th season as the Varsity Boys Basketball Coach. I'm going to talk about all these other accomplishments that you have that I quite frankly can't say, right, Mike? And before we get into it, we're just going to make it clear at the onset that we've been friends, very good friends for 35 years.
35 glorious years.
For better or for worse, right, bro? So if we riff and go off topic a little bit, anyone listening or watching, just deal with it. It is what it is.
Understand.
They got to get it. All right, so welcome. Talk. Let me hear.
I mean, first off, thanks for having me.
Excited to get you here. You're a very busy guy. You're never available.
Just being able to hang out with you is a pleasure. But
never
now,
available.
To get to talk St. Joseph by the Sea and basketball, really honored to be here.
Two of your big passions, right?
That's it.
So I'm going to ask you questions like I don't know. Let's go back to the origin days of Coach Cortese. Talk about where you grew up, where you went to school.
Grew up in a little neighborhood called Annandale. All right, a few blocks from, I think, where you live.
Down the block from me, yeah, right there.
And lucky enough to spend 9 years at Our Lady Star of the Sea.
Shout out to OLSS.
Great, amazing experience, amazing 9 years there. Still our parish means so much to us. My family wanted that Catholic education to continue, and I was lucky enough to earn an academic scholarship to attend St. Joseph by the Sea.
See, I didn't know that. It's like peeling an onion. I'm gonna get stuff that even I don't know.
A lot of layers here. Right?
Yeah,
a lot of layers we're gonna work through.
Talk about the transition right now. It's not a hard transition because sometimes we have alum who went to public school, and not that it's a hard transition, but it's just different, right?
Absolutely.
So going to OLSS and then going into St. Joe's, what was the defining factors? What were some things that you said, hey, C is right for me?
I knew I wanted to pursue a Catholic education. Our Lady Star of the Sea really set the great foundation there, and we knew that St. Joe's would be an extension of that, and it really was a smooth transition for better or for worse in the sense that they challenged you academically.
Absolutely.
And they put faith at the core of what they do there, and it was just an amazing experience. And I had the opportunity to play baseball and basketball for 4 years under the tutelage of some amazing people in the classroom, on the fields, on the court. And
we're going to talk about some of the accomplishments. We're going to get into that because I got them right here, right? But before we do that, so outside of the world of sports, talk about a little bit of the other activities you're involved with at sea.
We were in the honors program for 4 years. So I had to throw that in there. As a student athlete, we put student first for a reason. And so I could speak because, let's call it what it is. A lot of people say, C's hard. Right. That's what people try to say. And I'd say it is hard.
They still say it.
Life is hard. But you know what? Life is hard. But more importantly, as hard as C is, C 10 times as much has the support there for their students. Right. So I could say I did. I was in the honors program. I did play 2 sports. So I could look parents and 8th graders and 7th graders in the eye and sort of give them that firsthand experience. Right. So I was part of National Honor Society.
I didn't know you were NHS.
NHS.
I wasn't NHS. I was honors, but not NHS.
I dabbled in the student government. I was a student rep.
Nice.
Me and my good friend Denise Teixeira, we did not win the presidency and vice presidency.
Shout out to Denise.
She's the best, but it was a great experience running for that. So we were involved.
So talk about, and again, completely biased, right? But talk about how C in particular was almost the cornerstone of everything. In other words, friendships, alumni, your current basketball career. Talk about how you then took all the relationships, the knowledge, the spirituality, everything that came from C, and then got you to where you are today.
I mean, it really is. And obviously, I'm not just saying that because I wear it on my chest and I'm here. But, as when you're a high school student, you're not thinking about that during your 4 years. Right. You're not thinking about this is really setting the foundation for me. It's, middle school, elementary school is great. It's it sets a certain type of foundation. College, gives you a different real world experience. But there's something about that high school 4 years that really is at your core. And sort of things I touched upon, friendships, my closest, dearest friends, the friendship started, there. Some came from Our Lady Star of the Sea and made made their way to St. Joe's. But the friendships that are garnished through working together, right? When you're working with somebody in the classroom, on the court, on the field, that relationship builds.
So moving from St. Joe's to University of, tell me, Mount St. Mary?
Mount St. Vincent.
Damn it.
Mount St. Vincent. It is actually, now it's a university. It wasn't a university when I went there. But,
so talk about it. Now, you were recruited, right, for basketball. So tell us about that experience, right? Because there are very few, and you would know better than I do, but it's not a common thing, right, for kids to be recruited from high school into college. I mean, if there are, it's only a handful. So
Yeah,
talk
the
about that experience.
like I said, it was. I did 2 sports my whole life, and at St. Joe's, I did baseball and basketball. And to be perfectly honest, my paperwork was in for Pace in Manhattan. I was going to Pace. I was going to, pursue that Wall Street dream that I had, and
we were all doing that.
My paperwork was in, and I was ready to go. And I had my team. We had a nice run in the playoffs my senior year, and a little something about my mother. She sounds to have a little bit of a loud mouth.
Shout out to Phyllis.
So at one of my last games, she was cheering up in the section for her son, and she happened to be sitting next to Coach Mancuso from the College of Mount St. Vincent.
Wow.
And college basketball was never a thought. I enjoyed my time playing my whole life, and I was looking forward to get into college and begin my career. And I knew I wanted to stay involved in the game. And I'll never forget the moment she came walking down after the game. I think we won the first round of the city playoffs. She had a smile on her face. She said, "Would you be interested in playing college basketball?" And at the time, it was
like, what'd you say?
Yeah, a little 5'7" spiky-haired kid from Staten Island. It was. I withdrew from Pace, I went on a visit. I went on a trip. I met some people there, and they took me around. We asked all the right questions. I went with my family. I think my best friend from
show.
Yeah, my best friend, that's from John Pavidi, my high school friend, came with me. To get that extra support to make sure this is the right place for us, and it was the right decision. At the time, and it kept basketball in my life.
Right. Well, so that happened for a reason, right? Now we're going to talk about that reason. So now, post-college, let's talk about how the game is still at the core of everything you do and all you've done at St. Joe's. So talk about the transition, right? So how'd you get involved coaching again?
So again, you said it, I'm a firm believer everything happens for a reason. My mother was sitting next to Coach Mancuso for a reason.
Right. Out of nowhere.
Out of nowhere.
In a packed-out stadium.
In a packed-out gym in the Bronx.
Right.
She was there. He was there for a reason, and it's to keep basketball a part of my life and to allow me to have this amazing opportunity to coach the game of basketball, more importantly, to coach student-athletes. And once I finished my time at college, I knew I wanted to get into coaching. It was just something about it. Again, my love for the game grew. And I started volunteering my time at Our Lady Star to See.
There you go.
Talking about full circle. A lot of circles going to be drawn. A lot of circles going to be drawn today. And Mia is still currently the AD. I told her I wanted to get involved, and I coached a 6th grade C division basketball team in 2005.
Shout out to the C division, because when we were kids, I was the B team of CYO, and you were always the A team. It's fine. I'm okay with it. Don't matter.
But you worked your butt off.
Doesn't matter. I'm still 6'1", and I'm okay.
Letters mean nothing.
I'm not playing basketball, bro. It's all right. And now you're teaching my kids. So who's?
But yeah. So yes, I was coaching a 6th grade C division team, and it was one of the greatest experiences of my life. Right. It really it happened for me to say this is going to be part of your life.
Right.
And it was a great experience, and I just continued to volunteer my time at a Lady Star to See. Started coaching the 5th grade A division, and then I became Coach Damon Testaverde's assistant coach.
The best in the world.
And
Mr. T was on here. Mr. T was
full circle.
Yeah.
Mr. Testaverde was my 8th grade basketball coach.
There you go.
And now here I am, sitting next to him as his assistant coach. At the time, and then I believe after 1 year, I got a call from my then varsity coach, Coach Scott Welly.
Okay.
Full circle.
Yep.
He needed a freshman coach.
There you go.
And at the time, I jumped on it. I'll never forget. I was working on Wall Street at the time. Began my career on Wall Street. I was working for Lehman Brothers. I got a phone call, and my manager, I'll never forget, she was looking at me, and she saw me smiling. She goes, Mikey, what just happened? Something good. And I said, I just got an offer to be a freshman coach. And she just saw the look on my face. Again, certain moments. I can't tell you what I had for dinner last night.
But you'll never forget that.
I'll never forget that. So I knew, she saw something, that certain smile that it brought to me. And, that was my way back into St. Joseph by the Sea.
And how many years ago was that? So you're going into your 13th season, but you weren't the head coach when you first came in.
I was the freshman coach, I believe, in 2007.
So we're old, bro. That's really what that means. So we're talking about basketball, the passion, and we use the word volunteer a lot of times, right? So let's go to the paid career. You touched on it. Wall Street. What'd you do day to day? What was paying the bills?
I pursued a career in Wall Street, as we say. I was doing stock loan. I knew I wanted to be involved in the business world. I had the opportunity to have amazing internships during my 4 years of college. Even some years in high school. I was on the floor of the New York Stock Exchange. And
so was I. I remember filling in for you.
That's at the Commodities Exchange.
Buy low, sell high.
Yes.
Where is it?
So
come on, you don't remember?
The rodeo.
Where is it?
The rodeo. You got
different podcast, but that's fine.
But yes, you did fill in for
Where
me
is it?
One summer of the Florida Combined Exchange.
It's great.
So I was exposed to that, and again, it sort of went hand in hand with sports. The pace of it, the excitement,
ups and
the
downs,
nerves, the ups and downs. So I wanted to pursue that. That was a challenge I put forth to myself, and I got into, I started my career at Lehman Brothers in the middle office.
Small
stock loan. Yeah, you might have heard of it.
Somebody heard.
From 05 to 08, things were great.
Right.
Sign-on bonuses, just
smooth sailing.
Smooth sailing. I said, this is gonna be an easy. Who says life's hard?
Right.
You know, I'm working on Wall Street. I'm coaching basketball, volunteering at my local parish. Life was good. And then again, 2008 happens. There were some bumps in the road in the financial world. I stuck with it a couple of years. I wanted to see it through, but eventually everything happened for a reason.
And you were smart enough to see it, though.
And
a lot of people weren't smart enough to see it.
So I want to say I'm smart. I wish I could say that.
I could say it for you.
Luckily, I was late. The company did layoffs. The second company I was at, they had a logarithm error, and I was the last guy in, so I was the first guy out. And I was 29. I'll never forget. I remember going home on the light rail saying, "That's it. I think this is it."
Right.
Because if I would have tried to pursue it, it might have been too late. I wouldn't have been able to get out.
Right.
So they helped make the decision for me. I said, I know I want to do something in coaching. I know I want to do something in working with students. And I never would have thought I'd become a teacher.
I never thought either.
If you would have asked people that know me 36 years,
never.
If you would have asked our teachers that, I was always a good student academically. We did well.
But you weren't shaping young minds, bro.
I don't think if you would have asked Mrs. Cummings or any of our former teachers, but everything happens for a reason. Yeah. And my sister was currently, at the time, working at a local charter school on the North Shore.
Yep.
They needed some new male bodies in the building, and I tried out being a substitute math teacher.
There you go.
And that was...
Did they know you couldn't add or subtract?
Come on, math was my strong suit. Math was my strong
That's
suit.
true. You were math, I was English.
Yes,
okay, I get
there you go. And you're good with words.
Good with words. Wordsmith. That's it.
And that was it. That was the turning point in my life. Some of the best things that happens at the age of 29 when you lose your job, when you're living back home, you're single, you think, where am I? What's next?
But only now we realize that we're young. But like at 29, you're thinking we should have had the world conquered already.
Exactly. So
now you look back, you're so young.
My advice to my student athletes, my alumni after they graduate, when you try to continue to coach them and you try to teach them through your experiences, and that's a big part of my life where I'm able to talk on and say that. You think that by this time at 29, wait, this wasn't the way it went in 2005. I was supposed to be a millionaire and have my own team, but everything happens for a reason. And then I started my career path as an educator.
So it makes sense. And again, I'm biased because I know you, but it makes sense if you're just listening or watching that the passion that goes into being a coach, it really seamlessly translates from court to classroom. No, I mean, because you're guiding them, you're shaping them, you're trying to instill values, you're doing all that stuff. It really makes perfect sense.
I mean, my experience as a coach helped me early on, especially to become a teacher.
Right.
And then my work as a teacher helped strengthen me as a coach.
Right. So
I was blessed enough to continue to have those two worlds meet.
Right. Yeah, very cool.
At 29, and they sort of strengthened each other along the way.
You didn't have it all figured out, but now you do. So let's talk about when you went back to St. Joe's.
Well, I've gotten better.
I'm giving you the benefit of the doubt here. Come on. So now you got it all figured out, doing great. I want to hear about the most winning coach in C's history. So, that's a huge accomplishment. We were talking about it before when I was trying to get like tidbits and the highlights, and you were like, I'm handsome. I'm like, no. You're like, winningest coach. I'm like, that's what we need. Talk about it. So tell me, that's a huge accomplishment.
It is, and I'm appreciative of all the coaches I've had along the way by my side, and the families and players. But it's funny, it actually happened over the COVID season.
Okay.
So I didn't even know it happened when it happened.
That's
crazy.
Ironic.
And obviously my dear friend Charlie DBA's let me know the year after. He's like, by the way, Mike, it was like a by the way type of conversation. It's not something you think about.
Right.
But first of all, that I've been doing it that long.
Right.
And that was the first thing that really didn't strike me. But it's a humbling and it's a gratifying accomplishment, because you could look back at that first team. You can look back at the coaches that have been with you, that have been sacrificed their time to volunteer, go back to your word, volunteer, and help you really accomplish. And we've come a long way in my 13 years, and I'm extremely proud of it.
So obviously the role you play with the kids is huge, right? We're talking about how you instill values, how you're being a role model, right? How you're almost like a second father figure, right? Coach is a big deal, and I get that. But let's talk about something the opposite end of the spectrum. Let's talk about facilities, right? So talk about where C was when you first came in and took over the reins versus where we are now and what it looks like and what happens and what the games look like and the coaching style and the equipment.
It's the best right now. The work that Father Riley and the administration and the alumni do to make St. Joe's what it is today. It's watching college coaches come into our facilities to come to a game or come to practice and watching their eyes light up from a college,
right.
and to speak about it, they're blown away. To do, a summer camp or a youth clinic and have previous, alumni come back that haven't been back in years and see their eyes and their smiles light up. And that's just from walking through one door, let alone
not doing anything
here.
Yeah.
It's a blessing to be able to coach in a facility like this with the right people, but it's come a long way, and it takes a Monsignor Ansaldi who shut off every light to make sure that every bill, at the time, to make sure that the electricity bill was the work, like anything, the work that was put in those early years, the old football locker rooms that you guys played in. I mean, our locker room was a little. I mean, we loved it, but at the time it was a little dungeony. I mean, listen, we had a beautiful school at the time. Right. It's still nice.
Well, it changed, but it's night and day.
I mean,
and there's nothing wrong with that.
No, absolutely not. But it's cool to know that we walked those same hallways that I was in, not necessarily that locker room, but so it helps me to sort of connect to my players to let them know that me and my alumni that we bring back, we helped pave the way for what you get to see today.
And talk about, because I'm going to get off this topic. I want to try and hit everything on
We're going to start jumping.
No, I want to hit that the fact that you told me you also coached two of the most the highest
all-time leading scorers.
Two of the all-time leading scorers.
Number 2 in Devin and Gerard Nicholson.
All right, so when did they graduate? I know the names.
Gerard and Devin. Devin is 2 years older. Devin just graduated from Baruch, where he had an amazing career, helped them lead them to 2 CUNY titles, I believe, as well as Gerard.
Wow.
So they played together as brothers. So it's pretty surreal to see your 2 top leading scorers who got to play a year together for us at St. Joe's, and
at a collegiate level.
See them play at the collegiate level. And Devin had so many ups and downs with injuries and fighting through and battling Division I. To see their worlds collide at college and the success they've had was amazing. But to be able to coach 2 players like that,
that's special.
And it helps us tell the story. We try to simplify things. Hard work. It's not a guarantee for success, but it definitely helps. Yeah. And those young men worked their butts off in the classroom and on the court, and they went hand in hand.
And paid off.
And, so they actually, I talk about timing, they actually just worked our summer camp. Summer camp. We had over 100 hopefully current and future Vikings. It was an amazing week, and having them come back and coach. It's one of the best things about coaching, seeing your former players come back and watching them interact with the kids and come early in the morning. So they would come at 8 a.m. and have open workouts with campers before camp even starts.
That's cool.
That's the type of guys they are. So seeing them play and shoot, it brings back some good memories because they could score the ball.
You're talking about youth and kids, right? So we're old, we got kids, right? So it's fun, and I love bringing my son to your clinics, and I love that being a part of that. But in addition to what you're doing for the youth, and even outside of St. Joe's, you've started your own brand, right? Courtside. Yeah. So I know right now you've branched out into education, but talk a little bit about where it got started, what it is currently, and where you think the future of it's going to be.
All right. During COVID, during the pandemic, just to keep my mind sane, like most people in the world, I started a podcast.
Yeah, there you go. I know a guy that did
that. You've done a few of those.
I know a guy that did that.
Again, a lot of time at home, and God bless my beautiful wife, Justine, who, said, all right, go run with it.
I'll give her a shout out too. God bless her. Putting up with you, bro.
Keep my mind at ease. So I ran with it, and it started we had an amazing first season. We talked about I spoke with former basketball players and connected their stories as players and how they translated to life after basketball and using the skills. And
I like that, life after basketball. We may make that the title. Yeah. I like that. It's
go.
Good. Go ahead. Sorry to interrupt you.
And that was nice.
Little sound effects.
I guess organically, hey Mike, why don't you do a clinic with the kids? Hey Mike, why don't you do something with your kid? My boys at the time were getting old. Antonio was getting older, 3 years old, 4 years old, and myself and Coach Josh Suslak, the girls varsity coach, we started.
We're going to get him on here, right?
Got to get him on.
Championship this year, last year, or both? I forget.
He's got championships just oozing from him.
Just all right, good.
So he's got a lot of championships.
We're excited to have him on.
We started Courtside NYC, which was a branch of the Courtside podcast,
right.
And we just started doing youth clinics. and that's now into our third year, and we're actually doing one tomorrow,
right.
Ironically. And again, it's just, I love it to have three-year-olds to 13-year-olds, from 3 years old to 8th graders coming in, working at our facility with our coaches, with our current and former players, having them come back and work with the kids. Again, it's just one of the many blessings you have as a coach to see that, to see your players, to learn that one of my players, who was a quiet young man, I'm not going to say his name, wasn't the most talkative, but a big personality, to hear that one of his college essays was about his work as a camp, working in our clinics, working with kids.
That's awesome.
So things like that just warm your heart, and it's like, all right, the work we're doing, it's having its successes.
You're doing God's work, bro.
God's work.
So now that's on the court. Off the court, talk about what the brand is doing and what you've recently launched.
We recently launched the Courtside Learning Center in Princess Bay. So now, being an educator at heart and a coach, we're trying to bring our two worlds together. It's a facility where we provide academic and recreational support for ages 3 to college. We provide a little of everything from my buddy and me workshops to tax prep to SAT prep and everything in between. We're
Very cool.
Trying to create an environment where, students want to succeed. We want to put them, create a program, the feel you want to give to your basketball program, to your school community, trying to bring that into a learning center. And
it's still like extremely nascent, right? Like, it's like, is it a year old yet?
No, 4 months.
Not 4 months. 4 months.
So we're trying to,
right at the cusp. You heard it here first. Viking Vibes.
Right here. Trying to get some momentum going into the school year, and just see student athletes be successful. That's at the core of Courtside. That's the core of St. Joseph by the Sea. That's the core of coaches. Just to see students and student athletes just be successful.
So earlier you touched on how C instills values and does all these things, and you also made mention of something that's funny and ironic, but comes up a lot actually on this podcast, and of course in person all the time. People think C is hard, and no one, unfortunately, and not to your discredit, of course, but no one thinks of C and sports in the same sentence, right? It's always C's academic. They got programs, but C's academic. Meanwhile, we have winning championships. We had Richie Bruno on here. We had Tyler Young on here talking about all of the awards, all the championships, all the city, state titles. Archery, I think, is winning. They just don't know how to lose, right? I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. Your programs. So to someone who thinks that C is only academics and hard, talk a little bit about, and obviously you're biased, but talk about the strong athletic program and facilities and everything else that goes along with it that we have at St. Joseph.
That's a great point. I'm glad you brought it up. When we're at open houses, or when we're at CYO gyms, or when I'm doing clinics, and I love the opportunity to talk on that to parents when they say, I heard it's hard.
Right.
Again, as I mentioned earlier, we say, yes, it is hard. The first thing my former players tell me when they're in college, whether they're playing college sports or not, first thing they always say when, hey, how's college going? It's easy.
Right.
And I swear, it's easy. It comes up everyone I talk to. And I experienced that, as a student, and then so on and so forth. So to start with that, we challenge you academically, but guess what? We also challenge you athletically.
Right. And that's what I want. Let's
extract that.
That's
I wanted to put that. I know it's funny. I wanted to talk about those academics, but now I'm going to use that. We challenge you academically, but guess what? You walk into any gym, you walk into any field, anywhere where a coach is working with their teams, they are working.
Right.
The coaches at St. Joseph by the Sea, like all coaches across New York, so they work their butts off, and they are so committed to the success of their student athletes. And we take those expectations that we know these students are getting in the classroom, and we know we can expect that from them on the court, on the fields. So those standards correlate to success. Might not be consistent every single year, but a lot of winning occurs in UGAD.
Right.
At all levels, in all sports.
I like that. A lot of winning occurs in UGAD.
It really does. I get it that, our rapport is more of an academic.
And not that that's a bad thing.
Absolutely
but it's just so ironic to be such winning, like you said.
I think a lot
of winning in UGAD, and yet people are like,
I think it is changing a little bit in terms of the word on the street, not to be cliche. I'll be honest, just having, friends and families in all age brackets of the community. I do think that has started to change a little more.
Right.
But again, it's definitely a stigma that's been with us. But I think credit to the administration, credit to the coaches, and of course, credit to the student athletes. I think that's tide has been turning as of late.
Good.
Due to everything you said.
I feel like that too. So I'm glad to at least have someone say it. Because it's like, and again, you're not looking to create the athlete. You're not looking to create the Harvard student. You're looking to create the most well-rounded, best version of that student's self that could be created.
Correct.
Right? So it's important that people know that it's being done on a regular basis.
I call it the 8 to 8. Something about St. Joseph by the Sea, that bell rings at 8 a.m. and you walk out the door when Father closed the building at 8 p.m. and you are getting the best of everything. You are getting the complete package, from academic rigor to facilities to good food to, being challenged physically with the sports science lab to being coached. You don't have to go walk across the street to the deli. You don't have to go drive to the baseball field. St. Joseph by the Sea is a beautiful place from an aerial view from this building, but you come here at 2:30 and you see the interaction that goes on campus. It's amazing. It's beautiful. It really is.
So we're not just looking to create an athlete. We're not just looking to create a Harvard student, right? We want the best of both worlds. And to go back into outside the realm of basketball, you have recently taken a position as an educator at IS-34. So shout out to John Boyle. Talk about that. Where'd that come from?
So I knew Mr. Boyle through the basketball community.
Sorry, Mr. Boyle.
Mr. Boyle, sorry. Mr. John Boyle through the basketball community. Very tight-knit community. Well, Staten Island's a tight-knit community, but even more so through basketball. And I'll never forget, we were at the, I believe, the 8th grade Jake's game, Jake's Classic, and his son, current Captain Jack of our program, was playing in the 8th grade time. We were in the bleachers, and he was asking me about what I'm currently teaching, and I mentioned this virtual enterprise program. It's an elective. It's a business program that focuses on entrepreneurship, business management, and all these great things. Cool. And it caught his attention because he was looking to bring on a new elective at the school.
Well, he's like Riley, right? They're always looking to grow, and the biggest, the best, whatever the kids can have.
Now, I mean, not to jump off that story, but to be part of IS-34 and St. Joe's, we have 2 principals that just want to do what's best for their students. I'm spoiled beyond belief. Yeah. But so anyways, I told him about the program. I said, do me a favor, send me the info to the director of the program. I'd love to, learn more about it. And I sent him that information, and he got on a call with the director of Virtual Enterprise, Will Wilson, dear friend, and John was blown away at the program. And he said, well, the next question is, would you be interested in coming over and sort of
full circle again?
There we go. Full circle. And last year was one of the best educational experiences of my life. I enjoyed my time at my former school, charter school, and I learned so much about how to be an educator and really what goes into it. But to be a part of the Taunton community now and to have all the resources and people to help elevate you as a teacher and get the best out of your students, it was a wonderful experience, and I'm pumped up for year 2 next year.
It's exciting. That's right. It's only year 2. God, we're old. We really are old. I thought that was a while. I knew Courtside wasn't that long, but I didn't know that was only a year. Good for you. So we're gonna try and wrap it up as best we can, because it's going to be difficult for us. We could do this all day. Right. But easiest question I could think of. Well, not easy, but the most vague, right? The most vague question I could ask is...
Easiest for you, hardest for me.
Yeah. We both have been through similar paths academically and institution-wise, right? So, and I have my experiences, you have your experiences. But looking back now, where you are, and how we kept using the analogy of everything coming full circle and everything, what are some of the things you feel, or how do you feel C played a role in the ultimate evolution of where Mike Cortese is today? It sounded good to say.
It was ace. It's tough to really great wrap up question. We throw around that word a little bit, foundation. But every day when I walk through those glass doors to go to practice, go to the gym, there's a certain feeling of nostalgia that comes through you. You know, and you learn that it's not just nostalgia; it's part of who you are. And those experiences that you went through in those hallways. Being challenged, wanting to be the best version of yourself, walking into that gym as a student athlete, having something to prove for your teammates, to your coaches, and, walking down to the baseball field, with Coach Nelson and his amazing staff, and just expectations that you put those expectations you put on yourself during your time there. Again, you don't talk about them as a high school student.
No.
You don't sit down. That's not what you're talking about on the weekend.
You know what we're doing on high school.
But there's something internally that's going on that you can't sort of process. And thinking back at those nostalgia feeling, that's what it was. I really just had that internal challenge I put forth to myself that the school put forth on me. They challenged me in the classroom. Mrs. Cummings challenged me in the English classroom, from day one, and I'm forever grateful for that. Of all the teachers that challenged you. They didn't ever let you take the easy way out. And to my coaches along the way, my baseball coaches, my basketball coaches, they never let you just be, not be the best version of yourself. And that's something I took with me as a student, as an employee, now as a father, and as a husband, and eventually as a coach and a teacher. So
that was good. So you answered that very perfectly. and you actually reminded me of something we forgot to touch upon, because we've been so focused on basketball, which congratulations, right? But outside of the world of basketball, baseball was one of your original loves. And one of the things you had mentioned pre-interview, right, was
That's right.
that you're most proud of that reunion you hosted. So talk about it. Tell me what it was. I mean, I know we saw photos. It was a fantastic event, but talk about that event.
So this past June, we celebrated the 25th year anniversary of our JV baseball team winning the Archdiocesan Championship.
Very cool.
And, to now as a coach, JV, Archdiocesan, I mean, our baseball program wins championships like they're water. But at the time, we were a mediocre group of guys that just worked hard. We were always a middle-of-the-pack team. And more importantly, it was just an amazing group of friends.
Right.
Some of my dearest friends today still, Joe Bayonne, John Pavidi, Ralph Smino, I go on and on. And all of our worlds are still intertwined. And we had young coaches at the time, Coach John Lamattina, who at the time was 26 years old, Rob Nia, Billy Doyle. And again, they taught us a lot. As a sophomore in high school, you're not critiquing their coaching styles.
You're just hoping to run.
But looking back, they knew the difference between having fun with young coaches and holding their players to an expectation. And they did that.
Accountability.
Right. And to add to the storybook ending that we had is that Father Riley frequently attended our games. He was in our dugout cheering us on, smoking his cigars, and he attended the reunion. Actually, talk about ironic. I popped in today to say hello, and he just referenced it. It was such and the late great Mr. Spike Watson, the warmest heart ever to walk the halls of St. Joseph by the Sea. God bless him. He videotaped that season.
Wow!
So to have
I didn't know that.
I could get teary-eyed now to have that on video and to be sitting in the dining hall in June with teammates watching it. It was surreal.
That's awesome.
And the smiles on these guys' faces, and he captured it. And to wrap up the story, we were down 6-2 in the Archdiocesan Championship.
Oh, this is like a real story.
And I didn't know this. I can't not tell it. And down 6-2 versus Monsignor Farrell, who at the time was 28-0. They beat us 4 times in the regular season. Amazing group of athletes that year that graduated with us. Amazing group of guys. And down comes Billy Doyle in his suit, unbuttoned shirt. I mean, it was out of a movie. I'm not making this up. And he gathers us up in front of the dugout, and he's yelling at us because we were down and out, and he's talking about he might have just got fired from his job to be here. Right. And we went on to score 6 runs that inning, and we beat Farrell, who was 28-0, and just to have that celebration on film.
Yeah, that's awesome.
It means the world to us, and to really just. Again, those friendships, who's in whose wedding party, and but that was the defining memory for me at St. Joe's, and being there with Father Riley, full circle. Yeah, being there and Mr. Hanging Watson. It was great.
That's funny. So I'm glad I remember that because that would have been a huge miss.
I almost forgot about it.
That would have been a huge miss. So, closing remarks, words of wisdom, advice to anyone listening, watching, who is a student or a parent, or you can tackle that question from both angles. But we want to leave with a sense of words of wisdom, a sense of why C is the right choice or why C may not be the right choice, right? Because we're supposed to be agnostic here, right? We're biased, but we want people to get the real feeling for what is being offered.
I tell, traveling New York City as a basketball coach, you learn a lot about all the Catholic schools across New York City. Yeah. And Staten Islanders, man, we are spoiled to have an amazing group of schools ways. In such a close proximity. Right. That is not seen anywhere else. Right. So Staten Island in general is spoiled to have those options to them. All great institutions. And although we might be competitors on the court, we're all supporters of one another for Catholic education to strengthen each other. And that's something Mr. Testaverde taught me, and that's preached from all of us. But I think what separates St. Joseph by the Sea, and I touched on it early, is the 8 to 8. Right. The experience of being part of a family from the second you walk in the door to the second you leave, and everything you need is at your fingertips. It elevates your expectations. It challenges you. You want to be, we're creatures of our environments, they say. Not everybody, but something about being around the best pushes you to be the best. So you want to be around nice facilities because you want to be, you want to pursue that. Right. You want to maximize what your resources. And as hard as St. Joe's is, the resources they have to help you, to challenge you.
Right. If you're falling by the wayside or if you need help.
The best of the stories of the parents that say, I was unsure that, Johnny could have did it, but St. Joe's pushed him over that top. Right. So as parents now, we know. Nobody knows our kids better. And I get that when parents tell us, I don't think he or she can do it. I say, but what about thinking what he can do? Right. What are the resources he or she needs? And thing is, St. Joseph by the Sea has it all. Right. On top of it, they have the people. You could have beautiful facilities, you can have all that, but if you don't have the people to run it, from the custodial staff to the guys up top,
bottom
to top, we have the best, and there's such a strong feel of camaraderie through the halls, and it's just a special place.
Sea family, Viking pride, right? Yeah. So before I close, I said that twice, but before I close, give me the handles. Where can people learn about Courtside? Where can people view and learn more information about the new educational center you've started? And awesome. More importantly, what is the unofficial basketball handle on Instagram?
See Vikings B-Ball on Instagram. All our everything that we're doing 12 months out of the year goes on up there. Courtside at Courtside NYC for basketball, and at Courtside Learning Center. That's CORT at Courtside.
I see what you did there.
See what I did there? A little play on words. So you could catch, see everything that we got going on this month. A lot of exciting stuff this time of year, especially heading into the start of the school year. And, we're pumped from a basketball standpoint for year 13.
Right.
Appreciative to our staff, to administration, and just looking forward to a great school year over at ICE 34. And appreciate you having me.
Just another great day at Tottenville.
Just
another great day at ICE 34.
Yeah. There it is.
Hashtag. Sorry, John. Sorry.
Get that
Mr.
right.
Boyle.
Mr.
Sorry.
Boyle. But I'm to be able to talk, I know we went on, we were able to touch on so many different things. To be able to talk about it, it just reminds me how appreciative I am. So I appreciate you.
Thank God you came in
to talk about all these
tracking
great
you down, bro. Like, I don't know you. Tracking you down. So listening, watching, make sure you follow Mike at all the social handles we just gave. We'll be sure we put them in the description. Also, if you're listening or watching, this once again is Viking Vibes, the St. Joseph by the Sea High School experience. We encourage you to like, follow, share, and subscribe so we could spread this message further. And if you need any more information about St. Joe's or what's going on, or sports, athletics, anything happening, it's at josephc.org. And until next time, see you later.
Let's go Vikings.